Okay, The Curious Case of Natalia Grace, Episode 3. We finally hear from a neutral third party, and that is Natalia's neighbors. So this is what happened. She was put in the hospital, in a mental hospital, and at the mental hospital, they were like, ooh, yeah, no, this is trouble. She's propositioning all the men. She's causing a lot of trouble. Her parents wanted her put on the children's wing, but at the hospital, they looked at her and they were like, well, this is a grown-ass woman, so they put her on the adult wing. And her and the adult men were having inappropriate interactions. So when it was time for her to go home, the parents were like, well, you can't come to my house, which, okay, I get it. So they got her an apartment, but also they got her re-aged. They took whatever paperwork and they went to court and they were like, Judge, based on everything that we see here in this paperwork and the shrubbery and her development and her whatever, we think she's a grown-up. And how the age 22 got chosen, no clue. But I have a sneaking suspicion that I was going to say call them fine people. Her parents, her adoptive parents, did a little research. Turns out in the state of Indiana, if you are 0 to 18, then you're in the foster care system. From 18 to about 21, you're in kind of like a halfway system, right? They still check up on you. They still make sure everything is okay. But then at 22, you're grown, you're on your own. It's on you and nobody is checking up on you. So I think it was quite strategic that her parents had her re-aged to 22. Now, once she's 22, they get her state ID, they get her food stamps, they get her everything she needs and Social Security benefits. So there's money coming in. And they went and rented this half of her own apartment in Westfield, Indiana, which apparently, when I was a kid, now listen, I grew up in Indianapolis. When I was a kid, Westfield was the country, miles and miles of just open field. But I left Indiana in 1984. So between 1984 and 2013, when they put her in an apartment, apparently Westfield has come up. Good for you, Westfield. So apparently it's a very affluent area and no longer a cornfield. So I guess that's lovely. So they got her this apartment in Westfield. It's a ground level apartment. Out here, we would call that a garden apartment, but a ground level apartment. And they gave her some furniture from their house. Now, this is curious to me. They videotaped the inside of her apartment, I guess to show that they set her up nice. Truth is, they ain't set her up that nice. She had a twin size mattress on the floor, which she's a little person. Okay, she could get in and out of bed easily. She had clothes that were on a rack low enough for her to reach it. Great. She had a shower, unclear as to whether or not she could reach everything in the bath and shower. What was abundantly clear is that she was not bathing because all the neighbors talked about her smell. All of them. Dirty hair, dirty body, dirty everything. They would drop off groceries and leave them on the front porch and then just let her carry them in. Wow. Say you're furious without saying you're furious. I'm not even going to put these inside the front door so the neighbors can't see you just hauling bags and stuff in. Okay, I see you. Okay, neighbors. Parents, I see how you doing. So the neighbors start talking about their interactions with her. They were like, oh, when we first met her, she was nice. She was friendly. You can look at her and tell she was an adult. I was like, okay. Now we have a little more information. But personally, I had an adult body when I was 14. I did not have an adult's mind. If you had a conversation with me, you would be like, she's bright for 14, but kind of dense if she's 22, right? So I don't know where Natalia fell intellectually, but she had the body and the development, the teeth, everything of a full-grown adult, even though she was not washing her behind and it smelled like it. So the neighbors were like, she was nice, but stinky. And everybody was like, okay, hey girl, how you doing? And then over time, she just got to be a bit much. She had a cell phone, so she was calling her neighbor. She got the, hey, let me get your number in case I need a roll of toilet paper or something. And so the neighbors were like, we're good neighbors. They're so Indiana. It's so cute. I haven't lived there in so long. Listen, I live in the Northeast. Those Indiana neighbors, they not like Northeast neighbors. The Northeast neighbors theory is, I'm going to leave you alone. You leave me alone. Don't talk to me. I don't know you. You don't know me. I've lived in my house for a very long time, and I know all my neighbors mostly because I'm nosy and chatty. And a couple of the chatty ones I know everybody's name. Anything else about them? Nope. People mind their business. If your friends are playing, if your kids are playing with their kids, you might know a little bit more about them. But other than that, Nope, they don't come outside. It's no block party. That is not how we roll. But the Indiana neighbors were like, if you ever need anything, you just call me and let me know and I'm going to come over and help. Okay, now all that niceness, Indiana, that's how you got mixed up with this crazy lady. Because she was just walking in their house, going in their refrigerator, getting snacks, some Coke, sitting down, following them around, calling them all hours of the day and night. And they were like, can she go somewhere? And that was annoying enough until she started intimately propositioning all the men. Okay, particularly the older men in the complex. Like, her milkshake brought the senior citizens to the yard. So she cornered one of the older gentlemen in the laundry room and was saying like nasty things to him. And he was like, ooh, we're from Indiana. No, we don't talk like that to strangers. And so everybody was kind of scared of her. And they were calling the office like, can you get this creepy, stinky woman out the complex? And they were like, yeah, but that's not how that works. There has to be a complaint and her rent is paid on time. So what you want from me? So everybody started locking their doors because apparently in Westfield, they did not lock their doors. And Miss Natalia would just go open the door and walk on in and sit in your living room. You come home, she's sitting there. And one of the women said, an older lady said, I came home one day and my grandson told me, oh, she came in here and was saying inappropriate things to a child. And I was like, no. There was an accusation of inappropriate touch with a couple of kids, just all the way out of bounds. These people did not know her before this. They had not had any interactions with her before this. And so I believe them because they were like, look, we just telling you what happened. She was over here stinking up the place, being weird, ringing my phone off the hook, and trying to touch people. Any male person, she would walk in the house and seek out the males. Yikes. Okay, so what have we learned so far? The parents are garbage. We learned that in episode 2. In episode 3, we learned that Natalia, although regardless of her age, wildly inappropriate, possibly garbage, because if you try to do that, but also there was a gentleman in her apartment complex, an older man, that she would go up to his house and stay for hours and hours. Okay, I'm just going to leave that laying there and you can decide what to do with that. And I forgot to mention in episode 2, we finally have another voice of reason, and that is none other than Miss Beth Karras. She's from Court TV, and she is here. I think she's a lawyer, investigator, something. She's very smart. And she was like, look, let me just break it down for you and give you all the facts. And so now Beth is walking us through what happened, and I know we can trust Beth. All these other suckers, I don't know. Because Natalia was living on her own in Westfield, somebody called social services and was like, she stinks, she's doing all these crazy things. And so the social worker who had visited her as a child came to the house and was talking to her. And she was like, my parents haven't bought me food in months and this and this and this. And so they were like, okay, we're going to be investigating it. But keep in mind, she's now legally an adult and child services is all up in the mix. But once you get involved with social services, you can't say, oh no, this is the wrong age, so you can't investigate. Social services is like, I'm going to be here until I'm no longer here. Govern yourself accordingly. So, the father came to her house. Now, the mother stopped going to the house altogether. The father kept coming to the house and sometimes would spend a little time, but not that much time. More on his time with her later. And he videotapes himself going to her house and saying, like, I talked to the social worker and I don't know what you thought she was going to do, but that's not happening. Whatever stunt you were going to pull is stopped. I have stopped it. And then he took her cell phone, a tape of him taking her cell phone and deleting all the contacts so she can no longer contact the social worker. Sir, that doesn't make her look bad. That makes you look like the garbage that you are. These people are giving me agita. I cannot. Okay, so I'm about to watch episode 4 and we'll see what happens next. Bye.